But it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters with me, Steve Wraith. No Joe this week. He's having a week off. He's busy working this week and unavailable for selection. So relying on you guys to jump on and take part in the Monday Club, which is, of course, a fans forum. And as always, if you can't get the Dutch courage up to come on screen, then drop me a message in the chat and we will get to that in due course. But a regular on a Monday night is Alan, and he is first in the queue tonight. So good evening, Alan. And you could end up being a co-host tonight because Joe's busy working. Alan, and he's first in the queue tonight. So, but I can hear you. I can hear your microphone. I can hear the.
No, I'm sorry, Joe. Steve, I'm trying to get rid of it.
But I can hear you. I can hear your microphone. I can hear the.
No, I'm sorry, Joe. Steve, I'm trying to get rid of it.
Are you sorted? I can still hear it, Alan. I'll let you. You're first, but you're going to have to go second until you sort
No problem, Steve. No problem.
I'll bring Darren in. I'll bring Darren in. I'll bring you back until you sort that out. Hang fire. Darren, good evening, mate. How are you?
Hello, mate. All right.
Did you get down to Southampton or were you watching it on the TV?
I watched it on the TV, mate. Great performance, that wasn't it?
Yeah, fantastic, mate. I mean, to be honest, I expected Newcastle to win. What about you?
I thought I was expecting a little bit more of Southampton, to be fair, but how we played, it should have been 1-1 going to the first half. They missed a sitter in the end of the first half, like when I don't know how he missed, but he missed. But they had a chance in the second half, but after that, I thought we just bossed it, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting to hear Kieran Trippier after the game, to be honest. I mean, Kieran Trippier said Newcastle didn't play well, didn't play to the standards that they usually set themselves. But ultimately, what they did do was, come up with the goods in the second half and come up with the goals again. Newcastle, struggling to hit a barn door at times, putting in decent performances, not being able to hit the back of the net. But then suddenly we've hit 20 goals in the last 7 games. It's unbelievable.
If you see Man U minus one goal, we're 17 plus now. You're like, wow, what a difference. But when was the last time that happened? Man U minus 1, we're 17 plus. It's a shock to the system, like you're still getting used to look at the top of the league because after so many years, you're always looking at the bottom of the league, but it's just what a job Eddie House done. I've just been watching these high performing podcasts there. What a watch. I'd recommend anybody to watch it because it's on for now on 30 minutes. Go and watch it. You listen to Eddie Howe all day. How he learned, what he did when he first met the players was no negative. He wanted positive. It just and it shows you on Newcastle performance what the players are doing.
I mean, for me, again, on Friday night, I predicted he would probably go with Murphy. He did. But I thought he got his substitutions right as well. He brought the people in, to suit the game. And I mean, we had the cameos from John Joe and ASM as we expected to have, but in the grand scheme of things, we didn't really need them. Newcastle, had enough on the pitch before those players came on. We did well.
Yeah. When Chris Wood comes on and scores a goal, done a job. What we need to do to make it 2-0 to help us. We're not panicking. We've got the second goal. We're just going cruise control a little bit more, and then Willock scored a goal. Trippier plays a lovely ball through. He deserved that goal. Willock, I thought he had a good game yesterday, Joe Willock, and really good goal. Just everything. And Bruno's goal was ESM come on, past the ball, and just a positive thing, Steve. I know we're going to give him on Wednesday. Like, what do you do on Wednesday? Do you change the team or do you want to win? Like, I want to win, don't get us wrong, but I want to. You need to get players who hasn't had a game yet, give a bit of game time and rest. I know Eddie Howe's like the rest of people.
Yeah,
that's something I like about Eddie Howe.
Eddie Howe's going to want to win this game. The players are going to want to win this game. You know, you're only a few games from Wembley in the Carling Cup and the Carabao Cup, sorry. And from my perspective, winning the first trophy is very important. And did we expect Newcastle United to be in a position this season where we would, you know, potentially think about even winning a trophy? We would be looking to keep away from relegation, you know, consolidate our position in the Premier League and hopefully have a couple of decent cup runs. But at the moment, it's not looking. It's looking a lot better, you know. And when you think about it, without you know, ASM as a regular starter, with Isaac still to come back in, you know, it's no wonder that fans are getting that little bit excited and a little bit carried away, Darren.
Yeah. Well, the Newton yesterday, people said Champions League, yeah, will come and that. It's nice to be thinking that. I wonder about Eddie Howe. Is he overachieving this year because I've finished top 4 next year? You're going to see if he doesn't do as great, people are going to criticise him. He's setting a good bar for himself. That's the good bar to set for yourself. The higher and higher on to finish higher possible. But
yeah,
he doesn't. He's doing everything right. You know, like he's got a good level. Just don't. If he do great this year, hope next year, but don't do as good. But as long as we're in the top 10, top 8, whatever, people don't say get him out. It's this season's been unbelievable.
Yeah, if we overachieve in this season, and overachieving is, you know, if we qualify for the Champions League and get to a cup final and win it or lose it, then you've set your stall out. And I know exactly what you mean. If Newcastle finish 8th, then you could be in that position where, you know, suddenly Eddie Howe's under pressure, but it's a nice pressure to be in, you know. I know exactly what you mean. Bruno has been called up for the Brazil international team. Tom Dixon says, great to see Bruno make the Brazil squad. What's your thoughts on Joelinton missing out? So Monkey Suit says that the video of Bruno's family waiting for the Brazil news is class. I'm just in from filming today, so I haven't seen that. Cy Bennett, I didn't say Carlisle United were better than Newcastle, mate, but I did give him a little bit of praise. And also, the Joelinton news is upset a few people, saying can't understand how Fred is in the international team and he isn't. So what's your take on that whole thing?
I know. I don't think he's been in previous squads, Joelinton. I feel a bit sorry. Like, could he been a contender? Fred's not good, like me. But and again, I think he's a Brazilian man who likes his players a bit like Southgate, and he's used Fred before. Joelinton hasn't done that. He hasn't been called up. That's shame on Joelinton, to be fair, because he's worked hard. He's a different player, but man, like it's like the Brazilian man in has his players. And I just you made a consider Joelinton. He possibly got injured, but Fred, he shite Fred, to be fair. But Joelinton he's got to be ashamed of. He's been unlucky not to get called up in the squad. Just keep going.
Yeah, I mean, for me, you know, Bruno and Joelinton have deserved to be in the squad 100%. And yeah, ultimately, it's just the way it goes. Joelinton will have to keep on going. Barry Hogan says nothing wrong with Joelinton. He just doesn't fit the style the Brazil play, which is fair enough. It's probably a good point, that, Barry, to be honest. Not something that I really would have thought of. Bill Burnett says, bloody joke, Fred in for Brazil when Joelinton's available. Big Joe's worth at least 2 Freds. Afternoon to you, Kevin, as well. What a goal from Wood. Yeah, and I am gonna turn around and say that, you know, I told you so with Big Joe, with Chris Wood. He's been fantastic, Chris. He's a consummate professional, gets on with the job. He's never going to be a 20-goal striker at Newcastle, but you know what? For me, he's every part as important as you know, Kieran Trippier in that team, or you know, Sven Botman. You know, you just can't you can't criticize the kid, and he's come on. Great goal, great turn, great goal at an important time. Fantastic to see him win that. You know, to get a little bit of credit, and hopefully he gets a start, Darren. Maybe you know, I think he will make changes. You were saying, what changes will he make for the cup game? I mean, we saw Wilson go off. We know it was with, you know, a chest problem. He has been a little bit under the weather. We saw Trippier holding his hamstring, which was always a concern. But he was interviewed after the game and said that he was fine. He was okay. There was no problem, no issue. And we also saw one other player go off. I'm trying to think who it was. Miggy Almiron. Yeah, Miggy
Yes.
Almiron. Nothing said about Miggy. Presume it was just cramp. Ran himself into the ground as usual. And, for me, again, it looks like a clean bill of health going into the cup game. But I think he will make changes. And I would be very surprised if Elliot Anderson doesn't start on Wednesday. Perhaps in place of Miggy, give him an opportunity. Maybe ASM will start in place of Murphy. And maybe we'll see Manquillo get a run out at right back instead of Trippier. He may well go cautious and maybe put Wilson in for Wood. Might we see Darlow, in the sticks? He was on the bench at the weekend.
I think we'll see the Sellers too. I don't think he's going to rest Shaw or Botman. I think the Sellers going to get in the team. And I think Matty Target's going to play as well. So I'm expecting about possibly 6-7 changes, Steve, personally. But it's still good players coming in. It's not a weak team. You play Fraser, give Amron a little rest because he's been working his socks off. And the ESM could come in. It's still a good forward line going attacking, do you know what I mean? John Joe, he needs to run out. Joelinton comes back in the team. I'm expecting a lot of changes, in my opinion.
We saw, Super Mac talking a little bit about going up to the club. Him and Alan Shearer had a chat with with the goal scorers, the centre forwards at the club, and he'd spoken to Chris Wood, Super Mac. Don't be afraid to miss, is what he told him. Do you think some of that might have sunk in with him? Yeah,
it must have done because it was a good strike. He knew where the goal was, how he turned, and he just knew he didn't look where the goal was. Great forward goal, wasn't it? And Super Mac would be proud of that goal. And I seen Super Mac last week on delivery. I was doing delivery. Delivered it to Super Mac's house.
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah. He didn't recognise his face. I see you in the dog and Paradigan's eye. Hello, mate.
So we've got the cup game Wednesday. How do you see that going, mate?
I'll take a 2-1, Steve. I'll be happy with a 2-1, 2-0. Anything else, I'll be more happy with. It'll be a hard game. Palace is on a mug, so they beat West Ham yesterday. They'll be a bit high in confidence. So, but it'll be a hard game, Palace. They've got a few good players like Sahar, he's playing, or it'll be a hard game. But I fancy a 2-1 win.
And obviously, we've got the game against Chelsea next weekend. I mean, you would imagine he's going to go full strength for that one, mate. What are you feeling about that? Maybe if I'd asked you this a month ago, you would have said it was a tough game. The crowd's going to help, blah, 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 blah. But ultimately, at the moment, Newcastle look capable of beating anybody.
Well, Steve, the fans are buzzing. It's the last game before the World Cup, Friday night under the lights. The flags are going. Everybody's happy. Everybody's buzzing. It's going to be electric down there. Just go and give them a game. They're not a great team at the minute, Chelsea, are they? Can't give them a good game. Can't battle with them. Why not win them 2-0?
You fancy a 2-0, do you?
Yeah, I want a clean sheet because if you see Botman and Shaw's reaction on Sunday when they conceded the goal, they weren't happy. They were kicking off, and then that's what I like about defenders. Even though they win 4-1, 4-3 now and concede a goal, they're not happy. But I'll take a 2-0 or 2-1, but I prefer 2-0.
Who was your man of the match yesterday? I didn't ask you.
Oh,
I know it's a tough one, isn't it?
I think Botman had a good game. A Trippier, I think he stood out a lot to me. He's only done all the good, just organisation. He played a few good balls. Well, Sean Longstaff again. I'm not Jordan a fan. He had another good game. Sean Longstaff, he's just changing the game a little bit. At the minute he's working but he's just working so hard. But man, a match. I'll go with Trippier. I think Trippier had a good game, and I like Trippier. Man, a match with me yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I've got to be honest. Looking at Longstaff's heat map again, and just the work effort that he put in. He called himself a runaround this week because he said Botman's getting called Rolls Royce. He says, "Well, if that's the case, I'm a runaround." And I thought that was quite a cute answer from him, And Eddie Howe obviously spoke highly of him in the press conference at the weekend. But you know what? You should never put yourself down like that because he's grown in confidence since Steve Bruce left. He's grown in confidence underneath underneath like a real coach, a proper coach.
Yeah.
And for me, that's what he's needed. That's what he's needed. He's needed somebody to come in and give him that bit of confidence, give him a bit of a boost. And Sean Longstaff is like I said the other night, he's slowly becoming now, the player that Newcastle were, almost going to sell to Manchester United a while back.
Yeah. Oh, definitely, Steve. He's just a different player, isn't he? He works hard. He made a score on Sunday. He was just unlucky, just going over the crossbar to make it 2-0 in the first half. But I think his work where he's so up and down, doesn't stop moving, and they said the heat map's quite impressive.
Yeah, it's just crazy to think that somebody, is now essentially, rediscovered the form. I mean, it could eventually push him into, dare I say it, England recognition. Obviously, in the future, he's still young enough to potentially play for England. So, be interesting. Anything else you've got to say to mate?
Well, that's it, mate. Cheers. Thank you very much.
No, great stuff. Good as always to get you on as well. We're going to hopefully get this on again next week, and then I'm away the following week. But big thank you to you, Darren, for being tonight's first caller.
Cheers. No, thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, don't forget, the link's in the chat. Anybody wants to join in, pin to the top. I'm going to give Alan his second chance. I think he got his sound issues sorted. That's better, Alan. I'm not hearing myself, mate.
Thanks, Steve.
It happens to the best of us. It happens to the best of us, mate. That's why I've got no hair. It's happened to me lots of times.
Well, I crack on, Steve. Hopefully there'll be plenty more on the show tonight. Great result. I had all the defenders on 8s all day, Steve, until they let that goal in. Now they're all 5s for letting that goal in. I'll fine them for letting it go in. How dare the opposition score? And like you say, Botman and Shaw, my man of the match, Steve, without a doubt for me, was Willock. I thought he was absolutely, and I was so pleased he scored a goal. I was pleased Wood scored a goal as well, Steve, for you. It just means that we can sell him for more money, Steve. Instead of 15 million, we're going to get 25, what we paid for him. But everybody, you could tell, the camaraderie amongst the squad, you could tell once he scored, everybody was so pleased for the lad for scoring, because it must be hard being the third place striker, and your days are numbered, I think anyway, for him. But he's put it in well. It was a terrific strike. Trippier, I can't argue with Darren, because it was a toss-up between the three for me. Willock, Longstaff and Trippier, for me, absolutely brilliant. I'm happy for Bruno as well, getting his call up for Brazil. I'm not surprised Joelinton didn't get a call up, Steve, to be fair, because of the quality of the team they've got is absolutely immense. But long may it continue. I've got an apology to make everybody on the chat. I said, well, unbeaten run was only 8 and we broke it. It's actually 12, Steve. It's actually 12 games unbeaten.
All right, okay.
So we've got... But one thing I will say, I looked into it, and it's the first time we've scored 4 down there at Southampton in our history. So that's one little record. So I've got one not broken, and one has been broken. So it's the first time we've ever scored 4 down there. So that was tremendous. Just long may it continue. Everybody in the chat, long may it continue. The interview with Paul Ferris, Steve, I've read his book. That was great. His book is absolutely fantastic, and I wish the lad well. Very intelligent man.
He is, yeah. I've closed it off tonight because it was a mistake that went out today. It needs to go out on a day that it needs really to go out on a day when I can't do a show. So 330 of you who've watched it, thanks very much. But I've hidden it, and it's now going as a premiere for Wednesday night. So thanks to Alan, just giving it a bit of a push there. Paul Ferris, Newcastle United's former physiotherapist. A writer of 2 wonderful books, award-winning books. The interview is going to go back live 6 o'clock on Wednesday night because I won't be able to do a live show, so you'll be able to catch it on Wednesday night. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I mean, you know me, Alan. I just enjoy listening to people, speak.
And the stuff, I don't want to spoil the book, like Steve, for people, but the part where Ashley and Shearer and himself were waiting for the call for Alan to be the manager. It's fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And lo and behold, we all know what happened there. Shearer didn't get the job. But yes, very intelligent man and great for the lad, and how, you know, come from Northern Ireland, coming over to Newcastle as a young lad. And Keegan thought he was going to be the next best thing, and unfortunately injury prevailed. But he turned his hand to being a lawyer and then a physio. Fantastic for the lad. Really is. Really good story. About the Liverpool saga, Steve.
Yeah, now that's interesting, isn't it?
Very, very interesting, Steve, to find out. And I say it, Steve, now they've burnt Liverpool out. They bought it for buttons, and they're going to sell it for, I would say, 3 billion, you know. And because they cannot compete, and they've been, in my eyes, Steve, the Fenway Group have been a better model of Mike Ashley by buying and selling. And obviously the success is clouded, but they know they're not going to compete with us in Man City. And they never have. They've done really well by selling like the likes of Coutinho for 80 million, balancing the books and getting Van Dijk and the like in for the same amount of money. And actually, the actual business model they've done has been fantastic. I think Liverpool fans wouldn't complain about that, but they've always, even so, Liverpool fans are now complaining about them spending money, just like Arsenal fans and just like Spurs fans, Steve, about their owners not spending money for more than what they want, really. And the likes of Man City and ourselves, hopefully going forward, they won't be able to compete. And I think it's their time to get out of the club, to be honest, because I don't think they're prepared to go the extra hurdle now going forward. That's my take on the Liverpool situation, Steve. I think they'll sell up, and I think they'll make a huge profit. And, you know, to be fair, Steve, going forward, I think our owners will be exactly the same. If we get it and make it Newcastle United a global brand, which Mike Ashley wasn't never prepared to do and never wanted to do, and it was just money for him, and that's it, as we all know. That's what really destroyed the soul of Newcastle United under Mike Ashley. Getting back to the game on Sunday, Steve, fans were fantastic, and aren't they just getting a little bit of the, dare I say it, Steve, the pleasure that we had in the 90s, and it's just the start. I saw the fans, and a lot of them were young, and I thought they've never experienced what we experienced in the 90s, and it's just the start. So I couldn't be happier, Steve. I thought Willock again was man of the match. So instead of repeating myself, I won't change my prediction, Steve. I still think we'll finish 7th, unless return of the year, Steve. If we keep our run going, Arsenal's were 13th game to break the record, Steve, away at the start of the season, start of the year. And if we come out of that Arsenal game unbeaten after 13 games, then I'll start to believe miracles can happen, that we could finish in the top 4. But until then, 7th for me, keep our feet on the ground, take every game as it comes. Chelsea, is there more pressure on them, Steve, than us?
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, a lot depends on how Newcastle do, I think, on Wednesday. It's clearly the biggest game of the season so far, because you want to progress in the cups. I think if Newcastle can find their berth in the quarterfinals of the cup before the World Cup shutdown, they go into that Chelsea game. We've used this phrase a couple of times this season, a free hit, but you know, Chelsea won't be looking forward to coming to Newcastle. Wow. And Potter got off to a good start, but he seems to be struggling a little bit now. Yeah. And Mitch and Steve keep saying it on the Amigos, but they keep thinking that they might, they might sack him, before the end of January. That's what these American owners can be like. So it'll be interesting. But I think if you can get a win against Crystal Palace, they're in the quarterfinals of the cup. I think the momentum keeps with Newcastle, and I think they go into the Chelsea and they win that game. You know.
Oh, definitely, Steve. I'm absolutely over the moon, Steve. Really, there's no ceiling for us, Steve. As like Eddie Howe and the owners have said, there's no ceiling for us. Long may it continue. I've got no gripes at all. We should be calling it a celebration show every Monday night now, Steve. Not the fans forum or the rant as it was in the past. Yeah, because it's just been excellent. So I'll let you go, Steve.
I just want to ask you about Brazil. Obviously, Bruno picked for the Brazilian national team. No Joelinton, yet Fred being selected. I mean, is it simply down to the tactics that Brazil played? Does Joelinton not fit their, fit their kind of play?
Watching on Sky, Steve, the South American expert down there, said exactly the same. It's about the style of play. And it basically, Steve, look about James Maddison. If he doesn't get picked, a lot of people will be saying the same about Gareth Southgate if Maddison doesn't get picked for us. Managers have their favourites, Steve. Doesn't make sense to me, Steve, but I think it's the way managers are. I really do. I think they have their favourites, and if you've ever been talking with Peter Beattie, Steve, you know his feelings about Graham Souness. I won't let the cat out of the bag because it'll spoil for Peter and he'll see it for himself. But, he was told to get out of Liverpool as soon as Graham Souness come because he just didn't fancy him. And managers are like that. No matter how good or how bad you are, managers favour the system, the players that they trust. And I think that'll be the same for all time, Steve, to be honest. So I wasn't surprised Joelinton didn't get the nod and Fred came in, Steve.
What do you reckon about England then? Do you think Callum Wilson's going to go? Do you think Dan Burn could fit in for Chilwell? Do you think? And do you think? No. Well, Trippier will go. Nick Pope?
Yeah. Yes, he'll be second, Steve. Pickford will be, in my eyes, Pickford will be number one choice. And if Pickford gets injured, then Pope will step in. But Pickford will be number one choice, Steve. That's his favourite. I said it a couple of months ago, unfortunately. And Nick has had a fantastic season for her. But that mistake against Germany, people just remember that, Steve. It's funny how fickle fans are. But he's a good keeper and long may it continue for us. But I think Dan Burn won't go, Steve. I don't think you'd pick him. I thought he had his poorest game for a while, actually, against Southampton on Sunday, Steve, actually. Thought he was caught out once or twice.
Yeah.
To be fair. For me, the back line, Shaw and Trippier were the best two. Botman, distribution, a couple of times, done some too bad passes that could have led to goals, actually, Steve, on Sunday. So, like I say, against Chelsea, we can't afford to do that against a top team. So he'll learn. He's young, he'll learn. And like I say, he's still an immense player for us. Don't get us wrong, I'm not having a go. If we win 4-1 away from home, you can't complain, Steve, really, can you?
No, and we're scoring goals for fun. Barry Hogan makes a good point. Firmino hasn't been picked. Gabriel at Arsenal not picked. Both class players. And David R says, I agree with Alan. 7th would still be a great target, but I would feel 7th was slightly disappointing based on where we are right now. I keep expecting us to slip up, have a bad run, but we are looking so solid.
Well, Steve, you remember, and I remember 1995-96 season. I was gutted finishing second. I know where we were then, 12 points clear in the back end of January, and everybody was shouting we're going to win the title. So I suppose it's good memories. The start of the season was brilliant that year, as obviously you can imagine. We had 4 more points than we've got even now, but then we fell away. So I'm taking every game as it comes. Yes, it probably would be a disappointment answering the question, but when you think about what was expected at the start of the season, Steve, top 10, 7th for me was optimistic. But as the seasons went on, game by game, and hopefully further forward, if we're in the same situation with 30 games gone, Steve, then that's the time to be excited, because the pressure will be on the other teams to succeed. But Liverpool will come back, Steve, as you know.
Who will?
Chelsea will come. Sorry, I think the thing that gives us hope, Steve, is Chelsea, Spurs, and Man United are getting beat regular, and that gives us hope for a top 4 finish. And
Liverpool have lost as many games as they had in the entirety of last season.
Liverpool will come back, Steve. A team like that who has done it over the last 4 or 5 years will have a strong run. But I do think we've got a great chance inwardly. It's just whether we can, take it take it on board. Strengthen in January. It'll be great to see we're strengthening in January, Steve. For everybody out there in the chat, because we do need strengthening, and it's squad depth. And if we're getting the top 4, like Mitch and Stuart said, then will the owners in January, if we're flying 3rd and 4th, which looks likely coming in January, will they really spend big to make sure we get 4th? And then come the summer, then you've got to really look at the squad and think we need to strengthen, because the big advantage we've got for everybody in the chat is we don't have Europe after the World Cup. And that's going to be a massive advantage for us, Steve, going forward in the last part of the season, going forward. Because Man United, all of them have got European, they've got the cups to deal with in between. And it takes it out of you. Where it showed yesterday, Aston Villa turned over Man United because Man United had a game on Thursday and they were tired. And going forward again for us, if we make Europe next year and if we are in the Champions League, that's what's going to affect our league form next year going forward. So long may it continue. Eddie's got them playing. Fantastic problems to have. 1 year on, Steve, second bottom. We will, everybody was talking about Wolves round about this time 12 months ago, coming out the ground, thinking about relegation. Now we're talking about Champions League. It's just incredible, really. Absolutely incredible. And couldn't be happier. Couldn't be happier.
Definitely couldn't be happier myself, mate. It's absolutely fantastic. Any other points you want to make tonight, Alan?
Not really, Steve. Just sad to see Hasselhout go, actually. I think he was a nice manager, but he was just like our managers, cash-strapped. Couldn't do anything with the squad. That young, I was worried before the game, Steve, but when I saw Southampton's back line, where the average age was about 15, it looked like it, because the lad who walked off looked about the age of 12. He was only 18. I thought we had a great chance of winning the game yesterday. Before the game, I was really nervous, but he's cash-strapped at Southampton, and he won't be able to attract the players. So sad to see him go for them. But it's a results business, and if it doesn't work out, he had to go for them, So basically, that's all I've got to say, Stephen. Long may it continue. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, long may the run continue. Thanks, Alan, as always, mate. We'll get you on again next week. Thanks very much for your call, Alan.
Sorry for that bit of misinformation about the run, Steve. I knew the team were far better than that.
Take care, mate. See you soon.
Take care, Steve. Cheers.
Bye-bye. Next up will be Kevin. I'm going to run the ads first, though, and then bring Kevin in. A big thanks to all our sponsors, starting with Skips and Bins, telephone 0800 25 45 25 3, email inquiries at skipsandbins.com, website skipsandbins.com, easy contract free and pay-as-you-go waste collection. Thanks to Darren Baldwin Funerals. You can find them at 304 Old Durham Road on Gateshead. Telephone 0191 478 273 or email Darren at darrenbaldwinfunerals.co.uk or the website darrenbaldwinfunerals.co.uk. Thanks to Garden of Healing Dispensary, CBD hemp and cannabinoid specialists. Their website is thegohd.com. And thanks to 3 Property Investments, who specialise in sourcing investment properties for their clients who are looking to invest in the Northeast. They offer a full in-house service from sourcing the deals to managing the properties for you. They've done over 100 plus deals in the past 12 months for clients all over the UK. Give the guys a follow on Instagram, matty.patter_northeast property and phil.reed_northeast property, or email phil@3property.co.uk should you be interested in getting a good property deal. Thanks to Mr. Vicky's sauces, which are handmade in Cumbria. You can order them by going to the website, mrvickies.co.uk, or by calling 01768 210 102. Thanks to the guys at Blowhole Brewery. You can find them at blowholebrewery.co.uk. Got a vast range of beers. They're a new brewery company, and their cans are suitably addressed, like the Geordie Juice here, in the strips of Newcastle United from the 90s. Big thank you to Media Arts for all the help with the video side of things, and to qtechshop.co.uk, the makers of pool tables and snooker tables in Wallsend, Newcastle, and the guys who run our website. If you want to subscribe, then hit the subscription button. If you want to hit the likes, then hit the thumb up, and please share to your social media. We're also available as a podcast on iTunes and Spotify, and the rest goes up 24 hours after the show has finished. If you want to join, well, you can click join underneath the video and become a member for a small fee. If you want to pay the £25 fee and get a cup, a pen, a scarf, a membership card, and entry into the monthly draw, then go to the website, nufcmatters.com, and click membership, or use your smartphone on the QR code, which will take you straight there. We also give you a free car sticker. If you're a subscriber, simply email john@nufcmatters.com to claim your free car window sticker today. We also support the food bank on here. NUFC fans foodbank.co.uk is where you can find the matchday bucket and make a virtual donation 365 days of the year. We still do a lot of events in and around the region. If you want to see Super Mac, pre-match and after-match, you can go to the Dog and Parrot in Newcastle and hear Malcolm give his views on the game and listen to what he has to say about his career as well. Always a great afternoon. Kids are welcome. Good food, good beer. And get yourself into Pumphrey's. You can always see John Anderson and John Gibson in there pre-match on the Cloth Market in Newcastle. A couple of events coming up in 2023. An evening with Peter Beardsley, Friday the 10th of February at St Dom's Catholic Club. You can get the tickets direct from the venue. And Peter Beardsley is also at the Tyneside Irish Centre on Friday, February the 17th. Tickets available from Woucher for that one. Get yourself on the Woucher. Make a cracking Christmas present for any Newcastle fan. Also, an evening with Rob Lee, Lee Clark and John Beresford, Friday the 2nd of June, 2023 at the Grand Hotel in Gosforth. Tickets for that are available from www.heelandtour.org.uk/events. And if you fancy a Christmas jumper, get the Bruno Christmas jumper from nufcmatters.com. Okay, next up tonight is Kevin. Good evening, Kev.
Hey, Steve. How you doing, mate? You good?
I'm very good, mate. Another week, another win, mate. How did you see it?
I seen half of it at home, seen half of it on my phone. So, yeah, it was another one of them mad coaching weekends for me. So I seen bits and parts of it, but I seen three goals. I didn't see Bruno's finish, but hey, onwards and upwards. It is what, it was a fantastic display, even though we didn't play really well.
Yeah, man of the match for you. And difficult when you're watching some of it on the phone, I guess.
Yeah,
but, I mean, there's a couple of contenders.
I think it was a collective one, to be honest. I think there was, like I've said previously, I think it's just everybody knows their roles, everybody knows their jobs. But I really couldn't see a real standout, to be honest. I thought for Wilson, for his first 45 minutes he played, I thought he held up the ball well. He done well for Miggy's goal. I mean, as a true centre-forward player, linking him in, like I said last week, of the outside in run, what Miggy makes. But I thought, I haven't seen Sean Longstaff's heat map, but, I thought he, again, industry. And from my side, what I seen was him. There was a opportunity before Miggy's goal where we played down that right side and Sean Longstaff made that same exact run. There was the same passage of play, essentially. So, yeah, I think I would just give the nod to Sean Longstaff, to be honest, because I think he earned it. I think he's deserved that, to be honest. I think at the end of the day, I think he needs the goal, like Murphy does. Willock got. But I think, Sean Longstaff was just pipped everybody at the post, we'll say that.
Come on, you Maggies. Willock was definitely up there for me, says Blue Rhythm Boy. I mean, he was back at his best. He got a goal as well, which was great. Chris Wood scored, Kevin. And
I know, right? I
am the official organizer of the Chris Wood fan club, as everybody knows. But what a goal that was.
I mean, it was a instinctual centre-forward play back to goal. And I watched the professionals last night with Mitch, and Mitch said he just had the peripheral vision of the goalpost. I don't think he even seen that. I think he just seen their defender and used the defender really well to just whip it round him. And I mean, the goals never move, so he knows where they are. He's just got to get a good contact on it and put it into the bottom corner. And all four goals were very, very similar in how he scored them. All in the bottom corner. Joe Willock was a good old, I call it a Tommy Towbook. But, it was just like a scruffy one, and it went in the bottom corner. Miggy's was in the bottom corner. Chris Woods was a lovely finish around the defender. Bruno's was pretty much the same, but further out in a different sense. But, yeah, I thought, I was just happy for the lad, to be honest. And, I think we've got a culture within the club now with just knee-slide celebrations. And I think that's the celebration we're just copying Miggy because he's 7-7, So, I mean, it's just fantastic to watch. Like, and Alan even said, I was fortunate enough as a young lad to watch the mid 90s team, you know, and that's what we're seeing now. I mean, it wasn't the best performance in the world, obviously, but at the same time, when Mitch said, again, quote Mitch, when you win 4-1 away from home playing like that, you know, there's something obviously going right, and everybody's buying into what Eddie Howe's doing. And I mean, for me, outside of Pep and others, I think he could be a contender for manager of the season, to be honest, already.
Keith Patterson makes a really good point in the chat here. He says, us fans may think grow steadily, but if you ask Trippier, 30, Wilson, 30, Cher, 30, Pope, 30, Almiron, 28. Let's take 3 or 4 years to build. They'll tell you get stuffed. They want it now. This is their time.
Yeah.
Patterson's right, I think.
I do agree in their prime of the career. You know, that essentially, you know, they haven't got long left. You know, a lot of players in that age range will probably want one big contract to go and get a big payday, obviously, because that's the age what they are. But totally agree. I mean, that they're winners. That's what they want to do. They haven't got long left, so they're going to give everything what they have, whatever team they play for, whoever it is, to go and lift a trophy, go and get an FA Cup, go and get a Carabao Cup, go and do whatever they need to do to end their career on a high. And I can see all mentioned ending their career with us, to be perfectly honest. And I think he's hit the nail right on the head.
Yeah, 100%. What did you think about the omission of Joelinton from the Brazil squad? Is it down to tactics for the Brazil? Does he not fit the style of play? Is it as simple as that?
Yes, feel sorry for him, because we all want him to go there, and we've seen the growth and development, what he's shown, year and a half, 2 years or whatever. You know, he's grown and become a left-sided central midfielder. I think this one's just come a little bit too soon for him, in terms of if he put the 40 million price tag coming in, if he hit the ground running like he is now, I think he would have been in the squad. You know, it would have red flagged him essentially for the head coach of Brazil to say, okay, you're a good player. But I think it's just too soon for him. Maybe, you know, the South American Cup, whatever it is, the CONCACAF and stuff like that, maybe he might get into a squad after the fact, because I do believe and others have said, you know, you pick your favourites. You know, you know what you got. You got Fred. I think he is what he is. You know, no comment on that. But yeah, it's just too soon, in my opinion. I don't think he's done nothing wrong. I just don't think he hasn't caught the manager's eye quickly enough for him to like sway a decision. Or they could have been sitting on the fence. It could have been going elsewhere with the decisions what they made in terms of tactics, who they're playing in the groups or whatever. But you know, I think Alan said it, or even whoever said it. He's not a typical Brazilian type of footballer. You know, he's a big unit. He's a big lad. So again, that could play into it. But again, I feel a little sorry for him. But at the same time, I think it's just too soon.
Yeah, and there's always time. You know, he can make an impression and keep up the kind of performances he's putting in. I think, genuinely speaking, you know, there will be a chance for him at some point. Barry Hogan mentioning Hazard again. Steve, would you take a risk? Undoubted talent, but the wrong side of 30. I think Eddie Howe coined it in his press conference this weekend, didn't he? Where he said, you know, each addition to the squad, there'll be a lot of care and consideration given to it. There have to be the right kind of person and the right kind of attitude and the right kind of level for the team. I can't see Newcastle bringing in somebody like that.
Ditto. No, I think he could upset an apple cart in a hurry. I mean, he'll just probably have to jump on it and stand on it from the size of him, to be fair. But you know, I don't think that's the road we're going to go down. I think it's going to go down the road of mid-20s, mid to late 20s, in like going for those players into their prime. So I don't know, like a Maddison or a Trossard or whoever. I mean, long as they fit the mold, I don't care who you are. As long as you fit the mold of what the ethos is within the dressing room, what the ethos is in terms of how we play, go and spend the money on them. You know, that's just it's simple as that.
Yeah, I would agree, mate, 100%. And next point as well was this one I wanted to bring up when you were on the show. Gary Milliken says, it's fantastic Eddie Howe and his staff are getting all the plaudits. He says, but it's the people we don't see, the analysts, nutritionists and the like, who also deserve some recognition. How are the lads? Good point, that, Gary. And when we see the team photos, Kevin, again, whenever Newcastle win, we'll have that infamous dressing room photo. there are a lot of people on that photograph. I mean, I always pick out Tony Toward, who is the longest serving member of staff at Newcastle United, the club secretary, the guy who fills the paperwork in on a match day. It happens at Sunday League level, it happens at kids level, it happens in the Premier League. You always need a good paper man. But they are getting recognition, I guess, in the photographs that are taken each time they win.
Absolutely. And I mean, I know one of the masseuses who used, when I was at Newcastle College, he was working at the football in the community and doing bits and bobs with the college. So I know Barry, I can't remember his last name, but I know him, bald head like you. So, you know, he's involved. I know Ray Thompson from when I used to work at the club. I know others, you know, so it's fantastic to see. And Eddie Howe comes across, you know, when he says in his press conferences, it's a team behind a team, you know, so he's got one of the best analysts in the game from Liverpool. We snagged them from them. Look what's happened to Liverpool and their downfall. I wonder why that happens. It's not coincidental. You could look at it in a lot of different ways, you know. So again, it's a team that Eddie Howe's built in both ends of the field, or both, like on and off of it. So you've got, like I said, your nutritionists. You've got other people who have very specific roles for the outcome. You know, and I think he said it's my missus always makes fun of it. A famous college coach over here for Alabama. So it's not about it's the process. It's not the outcome, and it's those who are behind it make the process happen for the outcome to occur. So, it's a weird analogy from over here, and it's from Alabama, so a bit backwards anyway. But you know, so it's nice to see that we have those very intelligent people, obviously, of what they do in their craft, because it's specific to game analysis. It's specific to nutrition. I mean, I've got a sports science degree. I would love to be involved in it, you know, because that's my wheelhouse. I might give Mia Dad or Amanda a call and see if I can get involved somehow, you know, and get back home. But yeah, it's just fantastic to see. It's a team effort. It's not 25 players in the squad. It's 30, 40, 50 players, people within the training complex itself to get from a recovery. And I mean, I watch All or Nothing documentaries on Netflix all the time and see what they do in other clubs and how they do. I mean, Arsenal have got an individual coach, like a player development coach, one person, and they have one-to-one interviews. So I think that's the way the game's going. And so therefore it's just wonderful to see that we're now joining in the party in different areas. So we're getting not big names, but the best in the business. Like I said, like even Dan Ashworth, Darren Eales, you know, it's all behind the scenes stuff to make us very successful. And climb that ladder, just keep climbing and keep pushing forward and working hard and doing their craft.
Joelinton for life. I haven't listened to it yet, but he's listened to the Howe interview on the High Performance podcast. He says it's absolutely brilliant. So if you're a Newcastle fan, give this a listen. It's a must. Matthew Armitage says, I commented on here a few weeks ago as a sad man. Well, I'm back tonight, happy again. Bruce is out of my beloved West Brom. Well, pleased you've got that. Next stop, Southampton, possibly, Matthew. You never know. He's probably been putting his CV in there, that's for certain. The team photo is Eddie's appreciation for the backroom staff, says Chris Banks, which I agree. But no, Jordan, I am going to listen to it. I will listen to it at some point. I'm looking forward to listening to that, I must admit. Obviously, we've got two big games coming up now. And I mean, you know, we were talking a little bit earlier to Alan and to Darren about, you know, what he's going to do. Do you think Darren seemed to think he might make 6 or 7 changes on Wednesday night? What's your thoughts? Is he must look at this now and think this is the dream. He's in a Champions League position, but I think he also, Eddie Howe's that kind of manager, coach, call him what you will, who will know that, you know, the job has only just started. This is the halfway point we're coming up to now, and he knows that he needs the same level of commitment from his players and the same little bit of luck, because you do need a bit of luck, you know, for the second half of the season, for dreams to come true. You don't win anything in December.
Absolutely, and I wouldn't go. It's a difficult one because, you know, you want to progress in the cup, but at the same time you've got. And I listened to his post match for 3 minutes for what it was, and it's player recovery. It's, again, going back to the backroom staff, how quickly can they turn players around, and what he sees in Crystal Palace, how they're going to play. I mean, I would start Alan Saint-Maximin this weekend. Wednesday, just to give him minutes. I would start maybe a John Joe Shelby, maybe drop a Sean Longstaff. to give players minutes because they need them. Because obviously we've got a longer haul, back end after the World Cup, after Christmas, into the new year, into the end of the season. But I wouldn't change it too much. I mean, I'll just keep it. It's not broken essentially, but we need like an Elliot Anderson, maybe not drop Miggy, but just give him some extra recovery. I mean, yeah, as you said, Chelsea's the Palace game's a bigger game of the season. I agree. However, to make a bigger statement, go and beat Palace 1-0. Don't care as long as we win it, and then go and smash Chelsea next Saturday. And then again, the recovery of our main players, if you will. Maybe a Maxi might get in there. Maybe other players might have a shout, but then go and turn Chelsea over again on Saturday afternoon. And I think that would be a bigger statement going in. So again, it's just the consistency element of going forward. Again, the next game, he always says it's the next game. He doesn't look. He'll not be looking at Chelsea, but it really will be. But he has to sort of look and make them poignant decisions of, okay, how do they play? Who's going to play here in the system that we're going to play? But again, I'll play Alan Maximum. I'll play John Joe Shelby. I would have him sit and maybe rest Bruno, have him on the bench. Just little tweaks here or there. So 3 or 4. Maybe bring Jamal Lascelles back into it. Maybe drop Botman. Bring Target in, type of thing. It's just a refresh. But I believe everybody who's going to come into this team, who wants to be in the team, has to perform. Because if not, unfortunately, you're going to be sitting beside him, keeping the bench warm. Unfortunately for them, but if you want to play, you're going to have to. Even on Wednesday night, it's a Premier League team. It's not going to be an easy task. So we have to. Again, work hard, give everything what we have for it, and it's go and lift a trophy. But again, it's a nice decision. It's a nice problem to have, because I can just say, okay, I'm going to put you in there. But again, you've got to work hard. You've got to play. You've got to play in the same system of how we've been playing. It's got to be consistency from everybody. So yeah, I wouldn't change it that much, but 4 or 5 maybe, not a full 11.
England squad announced this week. Who in Newcastle's lineup has done enough for selection to go to Qatar?
I think Nick Pope, obviously. I think he's better than Jordan Pickford. I think he should be our England number 1. And Ramsdale, I think he's better than Pickford as well. Not just because of the Sunderland connection. I just think all-around goalkeeper. I think he's decision-making is questionable. Yes, he can distribute the ball quite well, but that's here nor there. Obviously, Kieran Trippier. I would take Callum Wilson because I think he brings something different. I think he can, in a game where, I don't know, whichever group game we play, whatever late into a game or bring him on in the first half, I think he could. It's like a Chris Wood essentially for England, where he'll do a job. He'll run his socks off for him again. We'll just hold our breath if he's going to break down. But I think he should go just based on his performances and his goals record. He's, I haven't seen any stats or whatever, but I think he's probably up there with the top English goal scorers in the Premier League. Burn could go. I think he might be like the little dark horse. If somebody breaks down with an injury, I know Thirlwell's got one. So who's going to fill in there? Is it going to be Kieran Trippier going to fill in there? It's one of them ones for Dan Burn, I believe. But he'd be in. I think I would not take him, but I think he could be in the 55 or the preliminary squad or on a backup essentially for him if anybody gets injured within the World Cup. But I would just say 3 for right now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see whether Wilson does get that call up. I mean, for me, yeah, he's done enough, to warrant it. He's been involved in internationals before, but again, be part of me sitting there hoping that he doesn't get on because I don't want to see him get injured. David R says, we failed to break down Palace in the league. We see a completely different team now. Palace just had back-to-back wins, though. We need to take them seriously. Changing our defence would concern me. What a time And I feel spoilt. Long may it continue. Toon says Mag Debate. Tom reckons Matt Target and Lascelles will probably play on Wednesday. Keith says we've only got 2 games to the World Cup. We need strong sides against Palace, and then he'll go hell for leather against Chelsea. Play a weak side versus Crystal Palace, and we risk losing momentum. Davy Brewis thinks we might see. He says Pope, Manquillo, Lascelles, Botman, and Target as the back 4 on Wednesday night. Colin reckons it'll be a strong side, but possibly keep a couple of big guns on the bench as backup. I agree at that. Go at Palace, rest players if we get a lead. Changing 4 or 5 would be risky, says Keith. And Wilson is a definite with Pope and Trippier for England. Davey reckons we'll see Longstaff, Shelvey, and Anderson. I think Wednesday night's a good time to give Anderson a start, Kevin.
I totally agree. I mean, when he was at Bristol Rovers, he was called the Geordie Maradona, and obviously you see snippets, you see cameos, you see what he's got in his locker essentially, and you just give the lad a run, out, and see what he actually can do from minute 1, not 75 minutes in when the game's probably done. It's a 4-1 lead, 3, whatever it is. All right. Old school phrase: fill your boots, off you go. Go and enjoy yourself. Not like a home debut essentially, and go and play. Just go and express yourself. And now I would do. That's what I would do. You could see him playing on a wide right or wide left in a 3 or in the central areas, somewhere in there. Just put him in somewhere. We've got enough characters and enough experience to pretty much not carry him, but essentially just put you go play, son. It's like David Ginola, we got you. You go just destroy your defense, and we just work hard for you. But he hasn't got that in his makeup. He's a local lad, so he understands that he has to work hard. And plus, it's an opportunity for him to say, okay, I want to be in part of the starting 11 on Saturday. So it's nice little things for him for Eddie Howe to go and say, well, there you go. Like I said, go and play. Go get your name on the starting 11 sheet on Saturday afternoon. Just a little dangle the carrot in front of you and see how he responds as a player. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. He's young. It's not. He's growing. He's developing as a player. I mean, it's no harm, no foul.
Yeah, Dylan Stevenson. I mean, it's a good shout, Tom. I think it might come a little bit too early for Dylan Stevenson, but he has been playing well in the under-21s. You are right. Big Dan Byrne deserves a place on the plane. He's as good a player as we've had since the day he signed. The man is awesome, says Keith. Colin Wilson says, I would love that for the lad. Are you at the Dog on Wednesday? I am. I'm in and out, mate. Still busy with this film, mate. I don't think I'll get to the game, sadly, on Wednesday night. I've had to sell me ticket. Keith Patterson says, if I was Eddie, I'd be saying bollocks to the World Cup. I'm here to send them away into the quarter-final and 3rd in the league. Job done, yeah. Club before country. Thank you very much, Richard. Great show again. And it has come to that time where we have to say goodbye. As always, it's been a big thank you to Darren, to Alan, and to you, Kevin, for jumping on. And always good to chat to you. Just as always, let's get an update on your team. Doing well still?
No, we got beat 3. I had 7 games this weekend for different age groups that I coach. My older girl team got beat 2-1, 2-1, 3-1. So it's quite a frustrating one.
These things happen.
But we're trying to play the right way. The brand new team. So the younger teams, the girls team that I have, the younger team, we played the other team off the park, but it was a 2-2. I had 2-0, 2-0-nillers, but they were good games. Then we got slapped all over with the same team last night, 6-0 from but a very good team who played up against. So it was like a Man City, Nottingham Forest, or Steve Bruce days. It was low block and let's play on the counter attack. But it wasn't to be. But they're growing, they're developing. So you got to learn how to play against other teams and other styles of play. And it got a bit chippy towards the end, which we instill. Half our coaching staff are English, so we've got a bit of an edge to us in how we play, and we don't like getting beat 6-0. So it was quite chippy towards the end, which was I get involved in that. But yeah, but it was a good weekend, just tiring. So I'm just tired. I'm not working tonight. So
that's a week long. That's what a week long birthday celebration does to you, mate.
We've got a strain of flu going around here in Georgia where I live, and it's my stepdaughter's got it, and I've been in and out of it. So yeah, it's been it's come back and hit me. Not hard, but I don't want to be around kiddos, and everybody in my teams have been sick and stuff like that. So it's not appropriate for me to be there tonight.
Get well soon to the guys. Davey Brewis, the next Q&A forum. I will do one, mate, at some point. Maybe this week. Just keep an eye out. As I say, it's a little bit haphazard for the next 2 weeks now, all over the place. Week 1 of filming completed. Got a couple more weeks to go. But yeah, there will be another Q&A at some point. I'm going to try and do a Geordie's here. Geordie's there tomorrow. I'm going to see if the lads are available. Might be at a later time, about 7 o'clock. Wednesday night, for those of you who didn't see the Paul Ferris interview will be Wednesday. Thursday yet to be confirmed, and I think we might be able to squeeze the Amigos in on Friday live, though, which will be great. So Kevin, thanks for joining us, mate.
Thank you, mate.
Good to see you, mate. Hopefully see you again next week. And big thank you to everybody in the chat and the moderators. Good night. God bless. Take care, Kev.
Cheers.